our first butchering video. We're butchering a whole tenderloin. We're going to go through the whole process on cleaning it, tying it, all that good stuff. Before we get going though, I want to talk about a few items I have here in front of me. So I've got my 6-inch shaping knife or boning knife right here. I've got my 9-inch breaking knife. I've got a steel or a honing rod to help my knife stay nice and sharp and straight. I've got butcher's twine or cooking twine that I'm going to tie the medallions with. A container to put that in so it spins easily. And then we got some rags. The rags are for cleaning the tenderloin. We also have a rag for underneath our cutting board. And then we have a rag for cleaning the knives. So the tenderloin is out of the bag. We're just going to pat it dry with the rag and we're going to start butchering this thing. You're going to see me doing two kinds of butchery while I do this. I'll be doing finger butchery, which is essentially just using my fingers to clean off any silver skin and sinew. And then the other type of butchery I'll be doing with my knife hand, and I'll just be cutting. And then once we get it all cleaned, I'm going to show you it, and then we'll tie it. So the tenderloin has been cleaned. Essentially what I did was I took out all the silver skin, all the heavy fat that was in there that I didn't think needed to be in there, and I just went over that with my knife. Take your time when you're doing it, guys. The first time you do it, maybe you're not going to be, lightning fast, but the speed will come. So when you first do it, just take your time. Again, go back afterwards. Be sure that there's no cartilage, there's no sinew, there's no fat. And when you're happy, like I am here now, we're going to tie this thing up. We're going to butterfly the anterior end of it. And then we're going to make some medallions and we're going to tie all the way. You can also see that I left a good portion of the head on. Some people like to cut that off. We like to keep it on and tie it into the medallions. Alrighty, so as mentioned, I'm going to butterfly the anterior end and then I'm going to start making my medallions. So to butterfly, just cut it as far as you can without cutting all the way through. Fold it over like this and then tie that together. So with these butcher knots, folks, you're probably not going to get this today, but what you can do is just tie a simple knot like you would with your laces. But I'm going to be doing the butchery knot, and if you can pick up on this, great. If not, again, just tie your knots as best you can like you would your laces when you were a kid, and it'll get the job done. So I'm just going to tie this. I'm going to try to space it evenly, always taking into account that I'm going to cut these into steaks and into medallions, so I want them to be about the proper thickness. I like to cut these at around 1.5 to 2 inches. I just find that it's better that way. So we're just going to cut, tie, cut, tie, cut, tie, all the way down to the end. And then once we got the whole thing tied, we're going to cut it into portion medallions. Alright, now the tenderloin is completely whole and tied. If you wanted to do like a Wellington, this is what you'd like to leave it like, or you can cook it whole and do like a tenderloin roast. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into medallions. So I try to get a nice even straight cut between those strings to get a proper tenderloin medallion. I really like them thicker than thinner myself. So we do it again at about 2 inches, sometimes 2.5. And then depending on the tenderloin will depend on the size of the medallion. This is a pretty big tenderloin, so they're all nice big steaks. But sometimes you get smaller ones and they're not as big. And there you go. Tenderloin medallion.